How many, I was trying to come up with a number. I couldn't even count them. Do you know how many books you have published at this moment?
168 stories that I've sold to traditional publishers.
Wow.
Think about over 42 million copies.
Wow. So when did it hit you that, oh my God, I am really a writer? Was it just that first moment dancing on the cafeteria, or was it later on?
You can't get much better than dancing on the library table. Well, I guess when I was at a book signing and this kid looked up at me and said, "You wrote this book?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did." That was pretty great.
And how early in your career was that?
Well, you know what? When Marcia and I worked so hard, we went to every bookstore within, I don't know, a couple 100 miles radius. And, at the beginning, there were tumbleweeds rolling through. And then gradually it built and built. And that it was probably pretty early in our career that happened. But so that was when that happens, it's a very nice thing. And we get fan letters from kids all over the world who are wonderful supporters of our work. So that's always encouraging.
What's your favorite reader reaction to something you've written?
There was a little boy in Indiana.
Oh,
Evansville,
wonderful.
Indiana. And I live in where do I live? I live in Tennessee now. I've lived in a lot of places. It's hard to keep up. But I visited a school in Evansville, Indiana, and there was a little boy who was out in the hallway crying. He was crying because I came to his school. The problem was he expected Eddie, Melody, Hallie, and Liza, the characters from the Bailey School Kids, to be visiting that day. He didn't want me. He wanted those characters because he thought they were real. Because to him, they were real. I felt kind of bad, but but I felt very good too because he really thought those characters were real, and our books brought them to life to him. That was pretty special.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. That's fantastic. I mean, sad, kind of, but also wonderful.
Oh no!
Then, what was my question for? It's gone right out of my head. When did it hit you that not just that you're a writer, but that you are an extremely successful writer, a writer that's head and shoulders above other folks within the business? Or has it?
Still working on that.
Yeah, but at some point, 35 million copies of the Bailey School Kids sold. Sooner or later, it had to occur to you that, wow, this is really kind of an extraordinary thing that I've done.
Well, I know I've been very lucky, and Marcia and I have worked very hard. I can't say that we didn't, but we were very lucky too. So I guess one thing we did, we saw kind of a need, and maybe that helped us to be successful. Because when I was a school librarian, there were the picture books, and there were the novels. But there weren't very many in between books. And I noticed, a lot of kids didn't want to read a baby book. I don't want a picture book. That's a baby book. But they could not read the long, thick novels. They needed something in between. And at the time there was like Nate the Great, and there was, what else was there? Polk Street Kids. But there wasn't a lot of choices for kids in that age range, 2nd and 3rd grade. So we thought there was a need for stories in that level. And that's what we wrote for. And I think that was I'm glad we did, because I think it did fill a need. And nowadays there are lots more chapter books, which is a great thing because kids have a lot of choices.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we want to keep them reading so that when they finish whatever book they're on now, they can come back and get another one of yours.
And novel readers should be thanking chapter book writers, because we lead them to.
That's true.
We do the hard work.
You tell them. You're welcome. You did it. So were you? I'm assuming that a good part of being a children's librarian is you've got the opportunity to do that market research right there. Are you asking the kids what kind of stories they like to read, what they liked about the stories they read? What kind of research were you able to do in that position?
Well, just getting to know the kids and what kind of stories they liked was very eye-opening. And another reason that we started writing about the creatures, monsters and vampires and werewolves and zombies was because there was this one set of books in my library that the kids practically fought over, and they were how to make monster movies. I think they were by Ian Thorne, and each book would take a monster like Dracula, and it would tell about how they made different monster movies and a little bit about each monster. And the kids are fascinated by this. And you know, that's in our heads that, wow, kids really seem to like to read about monsters. So that kind of helped us to write the Bailey School Kids with the different teachers who just might be monsters.
And how do you do your research these days that you're writing all day and dog walking? I'm assuming you're doing school visits and other events where you can go and interact with children. How do you keep yourself abreast of the market and keep sharp?
Well, I'm working on that. With my new series, Mermaid Tales, I do a lot of research of different ocean creatures and ocean concepts, because each book actually centers around a different creature. My newest one is called The Narwhal Problem. So I got to learn everything I could about narwhals, and some of that I put into the story, but some of it just helped me to write the story. So I never thought I would be such a ocean nerd, but I love it. It's just a fascinating world, and it's a pleasure to be able to write about it and put some facts into the story that hopefully kids will learn a little bit about the ocean as they're having a good time, hopefully, reading a fiction story.